That's the song. That's the song that keeps you going. I don't know. Rock and roll, music, country music. What gets you going in the morning? I don't know. It's gotta be something. It's gotta be something that gets you going. What gets you up and moving? What starts your day? Spilling your coffee. That would start your day. I've had plenty of days where I've spilt my coffee. That's the not good. That's the not good way to start your day. Illy Coffee and our Kalispell Brewing mug. I like this. One of the best mugs ever. This is a Stanley cup of some sort. Got it up there in Montana at Kalispell Brewing. Again, every coffee cup should have a beer opener in it. Perfect thing to have in a coffee cup. Your beer opener. Why not have a beer opener in your coffee cup? Great cup. I know you probably can't get up to Kalispell Brewing and get one, but these things, if you're looking for a good cup, this thing seems to be doing the job, man. Good illy coffee. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. The software vendors are out. They are making sure that you're staying secure, and they're going to fix all your problems. You know what week it is. You know what week it is. It's
Oh, really?
yeah, really. You know it's Patch Adams week. It's patch week. We're getting everything fixed. Yeah, not so good on the soundboard today. Really, it's patch day. Everybody's patching everything. So if you're the patch management person at your organization, you're responsible for patches. It's your week, man. Long hours this week. I know they're probably coming at you. So we're going to talk about patches. We're going to talk about patches for Adobe. We're going to talk about patches for Citrix. We're going to talk about patches for Microsoft, of course, because Microsoft is the one that started this whole crazy Patch Tuesday once a month. It's better than it was. That's for sure. It's way better than it was when they would just sporadically release patches whenever they wanted to. That was a nightmare. That was a patching nightmare. But this week, all them crazy patches are out. We're going to talk about a hacking group that's trying to steal secrets from a chip manufacturer, and we're also going to talk about how a network cable can help a hacker hack your hacking network. That's all ahead. Also, it's World Elephant Day. We'll talk about a little bit about that at the end of the show. All kinds of stuff going on this morning. Glad you're here. Glad you could make it. Glad you're ready for the patches. Let those patches roll. We got a lot of them coming. So let's get the morning intro going, and then we will be ready to launch, right? Oh, what in the world is going on? Chimera. Chimera. This is a new hacker group. I don't know if they're new. It's the first time I've heard of them. It has been discovered. This is Cyware Social's story. Every week, we're just going to count on every day of every week getting at least one Cyware Social. I think this is the only one for today. It's been discovered that a hacker group dubbed Chimera has been targeting numerous semiconductor vendors in Taiwan using the Skeleton Key Injector technique to steal intellectual property. And I'm confused the way they wrote the story. There's fly flying around. They talk about Skeleton APT, and I don't know anything about any APT called Skeleton. Maybe you guys do. I've never heard of Skeleton APT. That's just new news to me. I don't know who these guys, where they're at, where they're from. So Skeleton, they're claiming there's a Skeleton APT that's been in operation since 2018. Recently targeted at least 7 semiconductor manufacturers in Taiwan in a well-coordinated attack. Here's the 3 bullet points the story calls out. In this campaign, hackers were reportedly after organizations' intellectual property and confidential semiconductor designs. For initial access the Chimera group uses stolen credentials to access corporate IDs and VPN networks, and subsequently exploits remote desktop protocol to gain access to the company's servers. Finally, the APT used a custom data compression tool, Chimera, to archive and harvest data and send it to the C2 or command and control service. There's been an attack. There's been a piece of malware called Skeleton Key, and it's been out since like 2005. And I threw a link to that in with the story. I'm unclear if that's where they got this APT name from, or if they're just using that tool. Because they talk about using the tool. They talk about using the modus operandi, or the MO, while using a plethora of custom-built malicious tools. The group also used several additional tactics during the espionage campaigns. In the attack, the attackers used the Skeleton Key Injector, which is the malicious code I was talking about, a custom tool that targets Active Directory domain controllers, allowing lateral movement across the network. In addition, the researchers also detected the use of customized form of Cobalt Strike. I love Cobalt Strike. Masquerading as Google Update function, which implements backdoor beacons and performs persistent related activities. Which is, if true, if they are using the normal Skeleton Key malicious code, that malcode can't survive a reboot of the server. So if the server reboots, that malware gets kicked off of the server, which is okay because domain controllers don't get rebooted all that often. But they would need a backdoor to be able to get back in and reinstall the Skeleton Key. To hide his activities, the group uses multiple C2 domains hosted on public cloud platforms such as Google, Azure, and other public services. I don't know if they mean AWS because it's the only one they left out there of the big ones. The APT uses code snippets from Mimikatz, Dumpert to bypass the API monitoring and antivirus endpoint protection solutions. Good morning. Whoops. Sorry. And custom skeleton key derived from a code ripped from both Dumpert and Mimikatz. Perfect. You're right on target, man. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're using that. The weird thing about this is, unless I'm wrong, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, because I've definitely been wrong before, at least once, but I was mistaken. Morning, Alex. How are you doing? Good to see you. The thing I don't understand is, as far as I know, for Skeleton Key to work, you have to be inside the network. And I thought you had to have physical access to the server, but I could be wrong. The old joke goes, Alex. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. But yeah, I thought Skeleton you had to have physical access. So maybe there's another way. Another thought on Skeleton Key was they were using it on the local domain controller, and then that was synchronizing with something like Azure's AD in the cloud, and that was allowing them to bypass the need for a password. So they can use one password. I think they can use that one password to blow through all the accounts they want to, because they're kind of in that API call between the domain controller and the Azure domain controller. If that's what I think is going on here. That's the way I kind of read it. Kawali, I think you may be the only one that's really on to what the Skeleton Key does. So let me know if I'm wrong. That's what it sounds like. They've exploited somehow physically, or through coercion or insider threat, or somehow they've got the local domain controller, and then they're using that to use the Skeleton Key Injector for the cloud-based domain controller, probably Azure in this case. I'm guessing Azure. That's what a lot of people use for their AD in the cloud. Even if you're AWS, a lot of people use Azure's cloud-based domain controller. So that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like going on here. Why they're doing it, obviously, is to get the intellectual property. Can they get access to the schematics, the designs, whatever of these new chipsets. Does it impact us locally? Only in the fact that they could start knocking off the chipsets. They could start making their own version of the chipset. Just the bigger picture of IT. Recent Skeleton Key incidents in mid-June 2020, researchers were able to develop a proof of concept that would allow them to control and manipulate Azure authentication functions to hand over a skeleton key, in quotes here, password to dump all the clear text credentials. In April 2020, it was found the skeleton key can be used to exploit Azure synced environments, unlocking the entire environment for cyber criminals. Bottom line on the story, skeleton key attacks could allow attackers to log on to targeted systems without the need for valid credentials. The threat actors could remain hidden for a long time since their targeted machines, which are AD domain controllers, are not rebooted frequently. To avoid such incidents, users of Azure and cloud environments should use multi-factor authentication. So that's the key to this one. To beat this one, you have to have multi-factor authentication, somehow using two forms of ID, because this just creates a way to bypass that something the password. It's really essentially a password exploit. So if you have something plus something you are or something you have, that's going to bypass this. That's going to keep this from working correctly. So that's what, this one probably not going to impact you in your daily life. You do need to know about this attack vector. So the attack vector they're using is the Skeleton Key Injector. And I've included, again, like I said, in the show notes, there's some more information on Skeleton Key. Kawali is the expert in the room, it sounds like, on what this thing is doing, how it works. It's definitely using chunks from Mimikat and Dumpert to make this thing work, to bypass the APT monitoring. It's out there, it's running. The fact that they're using the exploit on a chip manufacturer is concerning, because obviously they could make knockoff chips. They could make chips that they can get put into, they being the attacker, could make chips that they could put into devices that maybe have backdoors, your whole supply chain management, your supply chain security view of things. So maybe these chips, once they're knocked off and they're made, they could be added, malware could be added to them and be placed into some other thing, something you're buying. Obviously the economics of them, the folks that are building the chipsets, that are doing the research, that are designing these things in Taiwan, are obviously going to lose money because of, if this thing gets knocked off. So protection of intellectual property is a big thing here. For you to take home, what you need to know, be aware. Use multi-factor authentication. That's your biggest defense against this attack. Antivirus on the endpoints, that helps, but the way that this thing is built, using Mimikatz and Dumpert, it looks like it's kind of avoiding some of the endpoint protection solutions. So, and if you're ready, we are going to hit, the update, the patch cycle roller coaster, starting with Citrix. So Citrix, who is this from? This is from the Hacker News. Citrix releases patches for multiple security vulnerabilities in the Citrix endpoint management. And this is a product known as XenMobile. It's the MDM or the MAM, and not yes ma'am, but mobile device management and mobile application management capabilities of Citrix servers. According to Citrix, there is a total of 5 vulnerabilities that affect on-premise instances of XenMobile servers used in enterprises to manage all apps and devices and platforms from one central location. So today, in modern environments, in modern corporate environments, you got to have MDM and MAM, mobile device management. That's where you're managing all of your remote devices, all your handheld devices, all your Android and iOS devices are out there running around that you own. That gives you the ability to control what the end user puts on them, control, what's going on with them, even have, protected containers for corporate or organizational enterprise data to live in. And if that device gets lost, it gives you the ability to nuke the device, to kill it, to wipe it, to make it ineffective, whatever. Remediations have already been applied to the cloud versions of this. So if you're using Citrix, MDM, or MAM in the cloud, they've already patched it. It's already taken care of because they're controlling the patch cycle on that. If you have it locally, if you're hosting XenMobile server 10.12, 10.11, 10.10, 10.9, obviously go on, then update, right? So that's the point, is update this, update any version prior to 10.9 must be updated to handle the latest rolling patches. Citrix is recommending that you update your XenMobile to 10.12 RP3, the latest supported version. So, to be noted, the company has not yet revealed technical details of the vulnerability, but has already pre-notified several of the major certs around the world and its customers on July 23rd. So Citrix, if you're using Citrix for your mobile device management, your mobile application management, obviously at work. I don't think you have MDM at home. Your friends, family, coworkers probably don't have MDM, but at work you may have Citrix for your MDM. You may have it for your MAM. Make sure that you're keeping these things updated. Like we're going to talk about anything this morning, any of your devices, keep them updated, keep them patched, keep them current, right? That's part of our hygiene, keeping things going. Next on the update train, Adobe eliminates 11 critical bugs in Acrobat Reader. They also took care of some other Acrobat or Adobe products within this rollout, but the major function, or the major focus, I should say, is on Acrobat Reader. 9 of the 11 critical flaws can result in arbitrary code execution. 2 are caused by out-of-bound write conditions. 5 are identified as errors. 2 use after free bugs, and vulnerabilities are a pair of security feature bypass flaws. And they give you the CVE numbers in the article. I'm not going to run through all of them. Looks like they're all from this year, though, CVE 2020s. Adobe also repaired 15 important bugs. Consequences include memory leak, privilege escalation, application denial of service, all kinds of stuff. They also fixed an important privilege escalation bug in Lightroom Classic for Windows. So, again, if you got Adobe out there, and I know you do, everybody's got Adobe in their environment. Your friends, your family, your coworkers probably are running Adobe Reader because it's free, and that's how most people read their PDFs. Unless you're opening them in a web browser. Most people out there just got used to using Adobe, and you're probably using an outdated version. So, Richard Mellick, the Senior Technical Product Manager at Automux, noted last month Adobe announced 2 out-of-bounds security updates following the official patch Tuesday. He says whether this is due to the increased usage and thus data collection of their products with more folks working remote, or increased vulnerabilities in research, the uptick in releases shows promise for Adobe's approach to product security. With patch release every week from Adobe, it also shows that waiting until patch Tuesday to research and deploy updates could be leaving endpoints susceptible to known vulnerabilities. So Microsoft, they're not like Microsoft. They're not giving you one rollout a month. They are doing it once a week. Every Tuesday you're getting Adobe patches. People love Adobe stuff. Gives it a lot of functionality, but with all of that functionality comes security risks. So we always have to watch out for that. Watch out for the security risks with the products we're using. It is bad stuff. I'm going to jump ahead because this came in right before we went live. It's not listed in your show notes, so I'll have to put it in there. But we knew it was coming. Just didn't get the full article until late this morning from ZDNet when they rolled everything up. Microsoft, I'm not going to go through this whole article. I'll give you the highlights. In your Patch Tuesday from Microsoft this week, or this month, I guess it is this week, you're getting 120 vulnerabilities fixed this month. 120. Jeez. Two of them, two of them are 0-day vulnerabilities, which is kind of a misnomer because now there's a patch for them. They're not really 0-day. 17 bugs in this patch cycle are rated critical. That's a lot. That's the highest severity rating they have, which 0-day is, I guess, beyond critical. There's a full listing. If you go to the article, there is a full listing of the 2 0 days as well as the giant list of what is being patched, the CVEs. They're all this year. That's a good thing. We're not seeing any 2019s being patched, which is awesome. You definitely don't want to see that happening. That's a long patch cycle if they have any of those. Microsoft said it received a report from the antivirus maker Kaspersky that hackers had found remote code execution, RCE bug, in the IE scripting engine that was being abused in real-world attacks. So that's been patched. There's a bunch of links in here. In addition, and that's why I think this article is a good one. It's got a link to the Microsoft official security update guide. It's got Adobe's updates listed here. It's got SAP's listed here. It's got VMware's updates listed here. Those Citrix ones we just talked about. Oracle's quarterly patches, there's a link there. Chrome's 84 updates are listed here. And Android's security bulletin for August 2020 is listed here. Those are all links you can get to from this one ZDNet article. Ton of stuff. We know this is if you're in patch management, this is your patch nightmare week. This is when all this stuff comes out. 120 in Windows alone. Man, we top that onto all these other things. It's going to be a busy week. Lots of patches going out this week. Lots of patches. And if you think about this one, just, you got to be on top of those 0 days right now. I mean, that's got to be going out. And these criticals have to be this week. You got to get them done this week. So friends, family, coworkers, this is the week you start bugging them. Update your system, man. Update your software. Update your OS. You know your family's running Microsoft. You know they're not running Linux. They're not running Mac OS. You know they're out there running that Walmart laptop that they got for $300 or whatever. They're running Windows on it. Tell them they got updated. This is bad stuff, right? Critical, 17 critical in Microsoft, 2 0 days being fixed. You got to do this, plus all of the other stuff. Yeah, Matt, Swiss, as normal. Matt, Microsoft is Swiss cheese. But the good thing about this article, and again, it's the ZD article linked to the mic. I'll have to add it because it's just came out right before press, right before we went live. Just a ton of links to all those other platforms. Adobe, SAP, VMware, Citrix, Oracle, Chrome, Android, all listed here. All your one source to go to, unless you're getting a feed from someone. Maybe you're getting a feed from the government, the DoD. Maybe you're paying for a feed that's telling you, here's the stuff you need to patch. Obviously, your patch cycle is different for every organization. Patch, scan, repatch if needed, rescan again. You got to scan before, you got to scan after. You got to know what you're fixing and if the fix was applied. I'm not telling you how to do your business, but patch management cycle and vulnerability management got to go hand in hand. Should be two different groups or two different people at least. Patch management should not be done by the same people that are doing vulnerability management. Not patch management. The scanning. The scanning for patches that people that run the scanning shouldn't be the same people that are patching the vulnerabilities. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the third Monday of the week. Man, it's hard sometimes to talk. But you folks that scan should not be the same people that patch the vulnerabilities, because then we have a conflict of interest, because the scanning people can just modify the scan results if they're nefarious that way. They can modify those results so it looks like they're doing their job. Maybe their bonus is tied to it, maybe their promotion's tied to it, maybe their rating's tied to it. Too easy for them to modify the results to make it look like they're patching stuff, and then it causes problems. So your vulnerability scanning folks and your patch management folks, they need to be different teams, different groups, different everything. And I know that doesn't happen all the time. That gets mixed in with the day-to-day. Like when they scan, they can just tell you Firefox. Yeah. Like when they scan and just tell you Firefox. You want to give a little bit of info there. What are you talking, Matt? I'm not sure, Matt. Are you talking about the separation of duties there? I'll give you a second to get back to me. I'll take a cup of coffee here. Talking about a little bit of info around. Tell you Firefox. I'm not sure what's going on there. Give a little bit of an intro there. I think the info. So I think a little bit of info. Sorry, I'm just trying to think what you're asking, Matt. Which is okay. I think you're asking about separation of duties between your vulnerability scanning folks and your patch management folks. I think I could be totally wrong there, but the folks that scan the network are looking for systems that are missing patches. Their other job is to ensure that patches were applied correctly, right? So that's one function. The other function is the folks that are doing vulnerability management, and those are the folks that are applying the patches and making sure the patches stick. So having the same person do both scanning and patching opens the opportunity for a conflict of interest. So if I tell that person, maybe it's a metric tied to it. Maybe I say, hey, all of the systems that have critical vulnerabilities and need to patch in a week. And maybe I know as a vulnerability management person, I can't do that, but I know my bonus is tied to it. I can modify the scan results to make it look like I did. And I think Matt's got back to me now. There we go. So they send me Firefox pop to patch. The scanner gives them them actually what it is that needs to be patched with Firefox, like a DLL, still left over or something. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the scanning folks are sending you information about what to patch. So some things still left over after the patch cycle, I think is what's saying. Yeah. The other thing we see is when the patches are applied, sometimes I always say they don't stick. I know they don't get correctly implemented. I always say they don't stick. So we scan, we patch. The patches don't stick. That's why we need that second scan to validate that all the patches are in place. I think maybe that's what you're talking about. There's pieces left over. Maybe applying one patch opens another vulnerability. That's why we need the vulnerability scanner to scan. So maybe we patch a piece of software and it opens a new port up, and that port is a vulnerability. So we run the next scan and we see, okay, yeah, that patch has been applied, but now there's a new vulnerability. Oh, they don't give you the information. So you're not getting all the info from, I could put that up on the screen, but they don't give you. So yeah, so they're saying patch all these things, then they come back and say you didn't patch because they didn't give you all the info. So Matt, it sounds like you're in the world of patch management of some sort or another either. So you are going to be a busy guy this week. Yeah, so patch management and vulnerability management and vulnerability scanning are interrelated. They should never be done by the same people because it allows for a conflict of interest. But applying patches is not as easy as it sounds. You know, it's easy. It sounds easy. Click the button. You know, you're a home user. You click the button. It runs. It reboots, and you're good to go. Not the same in the corporate environment. There's a lot of, we got to test all the patches. We got to test them against our builds, because the last thing you want to do is apply a patch that kills a operational function that has to happen. So, and then you have to have a schedule to roll out, and then you have patches that don't stick, or you have people that have removed permissions. Can be a nightmare. Patch management can be a nightmare. Yeah, and if they give you the ID, you can look it up, and that becomes, Matt. They give you the ID, you can look it up. So let's say they scan your network yesterday, right? Your full Microsoft Office. They scan your network yesterday. All of a sudden, you haven't applied these patches from this week yet, so you got 120 vulnerabilities on your Microsoft boxes now. If they don't give you that link, like the first one on the list here is a .NET framework, ASP.NET and .NET elevation of privilege vulnerability, and it's a CVE 2020-1476. If they don't give you the information to go track it down, I guess I'm my eyes today, then it's hard to figure out what you're patching, right? They don't give you that, and so you got to go harvest information. You got to figure it out, because the second one on the list is a .NET framework vulnerability as well, but this is CVE 2020-1046, so it's a different one, but its title is .NET framework remote code execution vulnerability. So they could, tell you, oh, you've got patches, and you got to patch the .NET framework, or the .NET framework has a vulnerability or something. If you don't get all the information, it makes it hard to patch. So you need to give you all the information. That report needs to have all the information, the links that are needed to the CVEs or the Microsoft updates or whatever it is. Especially when you're talking, like Matt's talking about, all the different things. And I didn't see Firefox on this list from ZDNet, but it's a good example. Is, hey, you got to fix this problem, and they don't give you any information as to what the problem is that needs to be fixed. So maybe you just run the update, and the problem isn't fixed by the update. That vulnerability that they were looking at still is not fixed, because maybe it's an out-of-band cycle patch, or maybe if it's not even a patch, it's a setting misconfiguration that they don't tell you. So they scan again, and the problem is still there, and they're like wondering what the heck is going on. I told you to fix this, but they didn't tell you what to fix. So you got to go look things up. You got to do research. And you think about that. If you're doing research in just 120 from Microsoft, the Adobe ones, maybe you've got Chrome you got to look at too, Android. You got this list of stuff you got to look at. It becomes a nightmare, and it usually hits this week because it's Patch Tuesday for Microsoft, and everybody else clutters around that release. So, Matt, if you're in that world, or anybody else in that world, if you're in the world of patch management, updates, that kind of stuff, if maybe you're managing all of the security program for your organization, I feel for you this week. This week is going to be a rough one. We'll be obviously at Cyber-Recon World Headquarters here in Virginia. We'll be patching our systems. We have far less than most organizations, because we don't got a dozen or so computers to worry about, but not thousands. So that's what's going on with Microsoft. I guess I don't know if we ever threw that up there. Our last story is from Black Hat. It's called Ether Oops. This is our last story, Cyware, you get 2 stories every day, it seems like. A new attack method dubbed as Ether Oops has been devised that would allow attackers to exploit faulty Ethernet cables to bypass corporate firewalls. And I guess the point here is have good Ethernet cables. So the way this works is they put in this exploit, they put an IP packet inside of another IP packet. And the outside, the containing IP packet, is benign. So you really have, it's like one of those Russian dolls with a thing inside of another. Open the doll and there's another doll inside of the doll. Think about babushka dolls, I think. So this is what the outside doll is good to go. There's no problems. It's benign. It doesn't cause any problems. It's probably going to go right through your network because it's not, it's not malicious. But they're saying that if your network cables are faulty, and the fault can occur when a damaged cable suffers from electrical interference, and that electrical interference will actually cause that outside packet to be destroyed and expose the inside malicious packet. This is a kind of a stretch here to make this thing happen, of course. Attackers could use EtherOps attack to infiltrate target networks directly from the internet or even from a DMZ segment and move laterally across segments of the internal networks, right? If you're using wireless, this isn't a case. It's an issue with wired Ethernet cables. If they're afraid if there's electrical interference, that outside packet can be destroyed and the inside packet would get through. Obviously, this proof of concept's been proven out at Black Hat. Making it work, I think, would be hard. I was thinking, Alex's question always, what do we think of the chance of this happening? I think that the probability of this happening on your network is probably fairly low, because it's a lot to do. First of all, you have to create the packet inside of a packet, and then you have to launch it on a network where you assume there's bad cables. In my experience, and this isn't 100%. One of the things most organizations do very well is cabling. Used to call them wire dogs when I was in the Army, but the folks that run cabling, most places I've been, have always been really good at their job. They run cables very well, and they terminate cables very well. I guess the thing is, if you're not maintaining the cable after they're run, maybe they could get frayed. Maybe they could this could happen. So, conclusion from Cyware Social: all the wireless networks have several known attack methods and preventive steps. The Ethernet-based wired networks are lacking both sufficient awareness and ample security methods. To ensure the security of wired networks, organizations must follow security guidelines. They provide a link in the story, such as sorting, analyzing, monitoring the logs of network sockets and equipment, assigning separate subnets for different departments, minimizing exposure of network devices, cables, ports, and other critical infrastructure. I am 100% on board with all of that. Keep your network cables secured. Keep them locked up. Don't have them. I've seen them in weird, in closets that aren't closed, or network gear in the same room that is like where people wash equipment or something like that. Yeah, it sounds crazy. I wonder how they found it out. There's researchers out there trying different things. I don't know, Matt. It's weird how you. Let's try a frayed electric or a frayed network cable and see what happens there. And let's put a packet inside of a packet, and then the story itself. I personally, this is my view of things. I think the risk of this happening, the probability that it will be launched is low. The probability that you have this vulnerability, this network cable vulnerability in your organization, is probably pretty low. You'd have to figure that out yourself. But the bigger part about this: secure your network rooms. Make sure they're secured and climate controlled. Have some type of monitoring on your network that's looking at the ports, really looking at an IDS IPS solution, and then have logs that monitor your equipment. Obviously, divide your network into subnets. That's what we're doing here, even at our small enterprise here, is we're going to have different subnets within the environment. That's what you have. You shouldn't have like your finance folks and your research and development folks and your general population all on the same big flat network. They should be subnetted out. Separation of segmentation of the network is important. All the $1,000 that have gone into cable testing equipment. Yeah, to test your that's a good point, Matt. Just test your equipment every once in a while. Test your connectivity. You can put the tone generator on one side and your reader on the other side. Make sure that all your connections are good and solid. Make sure you're getting 8 out of 8. Yeah. I mean, just a good test set is a couple $100, and you think in an organization, there's automated devices that can do this. There's the manual way. You put you put the terminator on one end, and you run your cable tester on the other end, see if they're still good. Yeah. It's crazy how it can go, and I don't know where this one little fly is coming from. So that's that. It runs us up to the holiday of the day. Here's your weird holiday. It's World Elephant Day. Couple links in the show notes talking about this. This World Elephant Day was conceived in 2011 by a couple filmmakers. They tied together with the Elephant Reintroduction Foundation, REF, in Thailand, and they made it an actual world holiday in 2012. Just to bring in awareness to the plight of elephants. The link's got a bunch of facts about elephants. At your elephant trivia of the day. You know, an elephant weighs 13,000 pounds, and they eat for 16 hours a day. Crazy. Elephants do indeed like peanuts, but they don't like bees. They say to keep elephants away from their crops and stuff, the folks put beehives up to keep them away, keep the elephants away. Who knew bees kept the elephants away? Yeah, and a baby elephant is 260 pounds at birth. Crazy facts you can use all day long in your talks with other people. That's your holiday for today. And one thing we got left to talk about, if we haven't talked about it enough, is our trivia day. What happened to? Did we kill trivia day? What the heck happened? Let's we can do that one. We can do it manually. You don't need a dang button for it. So tomorrow is trivia day. I know fake people on the computer. It's crazy that tomorrow's trivia day. 7 o'clock tomorrow night, trivia day. We are ready to roll. We've got the questions laid out. This is the first week you're going to have to do fill in the blank. Get those typing fingers ready. Socrative is a tool we'll use. Live 7 p.m. East Coast time tomorrow night. Join us for fun. Bring your beverage of choice. See how your security chops line up with everyone else. How good can you do against everyone else? That's the question. So, trivia tomorrow. We got some. It may be the week that Mike Bravo's long-running record. I think he had 3 in a row. This could be the night that gets at least tied. So we'll see. Mike Bravo, you're on the line, man. Hopefully you're going to be there. Defend your title. Defend your long-running title. I think Ralph had it last week. It's fun. Be there or be square, man. Or be there and be square. I don't know. Maybe cyber trivia, you have to be square. I'm okay with that. But I guess point in the show where we say it's about time to sign off. Let you guys hit the bricks. Get ready for your day. As always, take care of your friends, your family, your coworkers. Dyson, broom. Who tomorrow night? It could be the sweep, right? The sweep could be coming. We'll see. Hopefully Mike is there to defend that long streak title. Could be an upset. This week. We'll see. Be good today. Take care of your friends, your family, coworker, your organization that you're out there supporting. Know we're here. The group that's on here every morning. We're here to share the cyber love, to get you tuned up, ready to go, fight the cyber battle of the day, give you the news of the day, give you something to talk about around the water cooler in case you don't have anything to talk about today. You can talk about International World Elephant Day, and that they're 260 pounds when they're born. And by the way, when I'm telling you about elephants, let me tell you about patching your Microsoft system. Bunch of bad exploits out today. That's how your conversation could go. You could be that guy at the water cooler. I don't know if you even have a water cooler. You're probably not at work. You're probably at home. But anyways, I'm Jim with Cyber-Recon. You guys be good today. Take care of each other, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.